laugh.
It's a drawing, Sharon. It's a lottery.
Hi. My crisis of faith began in Miss Chisholm's 4th grade health class. Usually, we talked about stuff like why spinach is our friend and how to tie a tourniquet. But one horrible, awful day, the day that changed everything, Miss Chisholm showed us a movie called Understanding Sexual Reproduction. There were diagrams and words like fallopian tubes and ovaries and spermatozoa that made the girls squirm and the boys snort with laughter, even though nobody knew what any of it meant. And there were pictures of squiggly things that looked like pollywogs, racing to get to a blob that was somehow going to turn into a baby. That's not a blob, Miss Chisholm said. It's an egg. The boys hooted and a few of them crackled and clucked. I, on the other hand, panicked. I had eaten an egg that very morning. What did this mean? The instant the movie was over, I waved my hand in the air. Do all eggs turn into babies? I was fixated on my breakfast. Every egg that comes in contact with sperm. I thought Miss Chisholm said spam. My mother always cooked spam with our eggs. My heart started to race. I raised my hand again. We weren't supposed to ask 2 questions in a row, but I had to know. Every single egg? Yes. I didn't even wait for the school bus. I ran all the way home. By the time I got there, I was so out of breath, I was wheezing and feeling faint. I dashed to my room and grabbed the jar of pollywogs I'd been collecting from the creek. My mother was in the kitchen washing Gerber's vegetable medley off my brother's face. I banged the jar of pollywogs on the table so hard the water sloshed. My mother put the wash rag down. My brother stopped kicking. Both of them stared at me. You told me these would turn into frogs, but I ate spam, and Miss Chisholm says now the pollywogs are going to make babies inside me, except I don't know how they're going to get there. Please don't make me eat them. I started to cry, and then I threw up all over the floor. That night, my mother read me the chapter on how babies are made from a book called Children Are People Too. It clarified the sperm-spam thing, but not much else. The next day, she phoned the principal and told him 10-year-olds are far too young to be seeing movies about sexual reproduction. This is Berkeley, not Buffalo, the principal said, which made no sense, but was his answer to nearly every complaint a parent made. I might have survived the whole human reproduction episode with little permanent damage had it not been for Mrs. Utley's Sunday school class the very next week. Our lesson from the Methodist reader was entitled Miracle of the Virgin Birth. I knew as soon as I saw the words virgin and birth, I was in deep trouble. Mrs. Utley suggested we skip the actual reading of the lesson and just celebrate the miracle by talking about miracles in our own lives. But Marlene and Carlene would have none of it. The Bible says Mary got pregnant through a word in her ear, Marlene said. I started to breathe really fast. I looked at Mrs. Utley. Her face was almost as purple as her blouse. The sperm go in her ear, I croaked. Please say no, please say no. There was no sperm, Mrs. Utley croaked back, wiping her forehead with her sleeve. No sperm? The room was spinning. Can't you hear? Carlene harumphed. The Bible said she got pregnant with a word in her ear, not a sperm in her ear. Thanks to my mother and the chapter in Children Are People Too. The only thing I was absolutely clear about when it came to the baby-making process is that you have to have sperm. You can't make spaghetti without the noodles, is how my mother put it. can't make spaghetti without the noodles, I said. Mrs. Utley cleared her throat. There's an idea. Let's talk about our favorite food. Food can be a miracle, especially in China where the children don't have any.
Christine,